Les presento con gran honor a Alison Bastien.
Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be invited to be here today. Back in 1940, the poet T.S. Eliot asked, "Where is the knowledge we've lost in information?" And I think that's an even more relevant question today. Over the 35 years that I've been working with birth and with plants, I've been thinking a lot about this question, and I'd like to share some of the observations I've had in watching how life lives through itself. It became clear to me that life wants to live, and it already knows how. When life lives through itself, everything occurs in its own perfect moment. We can't pull a rose open to bloom. It has its moment. We may become experts filled with information on childbirth or gardening or healing, but the reality is it's life that does the living, life that comes through us, healing that happens. We're simply the vehicle. I'd like to invite you to observe more how life is always enthusiastically living around you. Here we can see someone had been eating some salsa with chips in a hostel in Chiapas. The seeds dropped down. The cilantro came up through the cracks in the bricks. Watch how many things are growing between the cracks and the walls all around you. Part of life knowing how to live is also life knowing how and when to die. Fruit ripens, leaves fall. Everything moves through its appearance and disappearance. And as Einstein said, energy doesn't really die, it only transforms. In order to receive a broader bandwidth of information about how to be alive, much of the information that's conferred to us happens when we're in a kind of trance. That's transformation. Here we can see the four main brainwave patterns in people. Babies in utero are mainly in this latter, the delta state. They continue to be there until they're about 2 years old. Young children from 2 to 7 are predominantly in the theta state. In other words, almost sleepwalking. Why do babies sleep so much? They're still growing their brains. And in the delta and theta states, they're processing and integrating huge volumes of information, learning how to move, how to breathe, how to eat, how to interact, also producing higher levels of growth hormones and immune modulators. The gradual development of the frontal lobe and all that information we want to process is literally launched from the cellular knowing of all that we brought in when we came in through delta. A midwife has given me the honor of knowing people from before they were born, of watching them come through. Sometimes I met them even before they were conceived, and watching what happens and how their lives continue to live through even after they've died. Each of us, to me, are like poofs of light, coming into form for a while and transforming out again later. The Genome Project demonstrated that we share 94% of our genetic material with everything else that ever was. Every pregnancy is a hologram of life's evolution. 280 days, we go ahead and recreate the 2.8 million years it took us to become from these dividing little cells onward into the neural fold, the eyes on the side of our heads, the gills, the fins, the webbed feet, the tails, and eventually coming into human form or whatever form we're destined to take. Every day of gestation, a baby barrels through a couple 100,000 years of evolution. We all did it. We all have this cell memory of what it's like to have been every other living thing that evolved on the planet across time. We still all come in through the water. The amniotic fluid is the exact composition of the sea. And our plant ancestry is still literally in our blood. These are the molecules of the chlorophyll and the hemoglobin, almost identical, but for the final nucleus. In our human blood, it's ferrum phos, which makes our blood red, and in the plant, it's chlorophyll with the magnesium phos. We fill pregnant women with advice, research, information, and mostly fear. But no woman who's pregnant can say, Oh, don't talk to me today, I'm making the fingernails. Or, let me practice making that umbilical cord. Or, wait, let me tell that baby to get rid of the tail. The uterus is the strongest muscle in our body, but you can't exercise it. Nothing you do is going to make it stronger. It just is. It knows how and what to do and when to do it. In case I'm losing you here with all of this, we're right here on planet Earth, on the right arm of the spiral galaxy of the Milky Way, right where we've been for 4 billion years. Sometimes a ball of fire, sometimes ice. Now we're mostly covered with water. I think we could learn a lot just remembering how much life already knows how to live as a planet. And as a planet, we're actually planet plant. Plants came in about 3.5 billion years ago as cyanobacteria, first oxygen interacting cells. And as we know, plants now have been around for about 4.5 million years, the oxygen solar-powered synthesizers that are breathing us today. Humans, as we know ourselves now, came on the scene about 200,000 years ago. So who's growing who? Plants feed us, clothe us, heal us, shelter us, comfort us. Plants are breathing us. It's said Einstein got his theory of relativity while he was asleep. Have you ever noticed how new ideas occur to you when you're just walking around, taking a walk, taking a shower, thinking about something else? The history of healing in all cultures and through all time began with observation and imagination of how life lives. Women in labor were the actual prototypes for the shamans, moving through trance-like states as labor progresses, meeting their babies in the delta state and bringing them on through. Shamans still practice their rituals with rhythmic drumming, chanting, fasting, possibly injecting plants in order to return to that primordial state from which we came in with all the knowledge and information that was there. On a practical level, let's strive to be more plant-like, discerning without judgment. I've never met a dandelion who said, "Not you, you look weird." Resilient and interdependent, growing and giving because it's our nature. Bloom, whether or not anybody notices. Life knows how to live. It's been observed that 75% of acute illness is self-resolving, and 95% of all births, when women have been nurtured and left unintervened, come out safely and spontaneously. We cannot will ourselves or anyone else into happiness or health. We can only become more willing, perhaps more plant-like. Life doesn't take itself so personally, and neither should we. So how do we know what we really know? How do we learn to trust our knowing in an age of so much information? Let yourself be more often. Rest. Dream. Allow. Watch how life lives through everything else. Look in those cracks on the sidewalk. The scientific method says only what can be seen, measured, and repeated is what counts as real. But then how do we know love? How do we know spirit? How do we know ourselves? I'm not advocating passivity or a lack of innovation or passion, but allowing life to live through you invites the grace to grow you ever more towards that which you truly are. We don't create life. Life created us. Life dreamed us up. So to T.S. Eliot, I say, where is the knowledge we lost in information? It's been here, living through us the whole time. Thank you.